In this video, I want to quickly review a few things about the syllabus for Foundations of American Education, EDUC 3200. This qualifies for Section 6, Section 621, and Section 622, which are all online sections. First thing is my contact information. I want to let everyone know that while this is a virtual class, if you're on ECU's campus, I am local. I do have an office on East Carolina's campus in 216 Spate Building. My office phone, you can also try me there, is 252-328-1127, and of course you can email me. So by phone, if you call me during office hours, just make sure it is during office hour because I may not be in my office if it's not during office hour. But there's other ways we can meet virtually, both during office hours and after office hours. I'll be available by Skype and Google Hangout during office hours, which is Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:30 Eastern, Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern, and Thursday from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. If you want to do a Google Skype or a Google Hangout or Skype appointment during those hours, I suggest that you tell me in advance that you want to do those, maybe preferably a day in advance, but at least a few hours lead time. And the reason is because Skype and Google Hangouts requires someone to send an invite to another person and then they accept that invite. So I have to be waiting by my Skype or by my Google Hangout to accept your invite. So some advance notice is going to be necessary for those. Otherwise, you can contact me by email. I'm pretty good at responding to emails. So the course readings, I want to just stress here, make sure you have all three of these. Since it's an online course, we have it's going to draw very heavily on the course texts. But you can get e-editions or you can get regular editions. So if you want to get the physical book, you can do that. If you want to get the Kindle edition, the Nook edition, the Google Play edition, or whatever ebook edition you can, we're not going to be necessarily using page numbers all that much, so you can get the e-edition if that's what suits your preference. So I'm going to scroll through some of this because you can look through, and you should look through, the mission statement for the course and the standards that it fulfills. Then we come to reasonable accommodations. If you have a learning or other disability that requires some sort of accommodation from me, the professor, I'm absolutely happy to do that. But you need to get clearance from ECU's Disability Support Service. And what they'll do is give you documentation that clears you for accommodations in my class, and you're responsible for giving that to me. Whether it's online, you might scan it in or whatever. And as soon as I get that documented evidence, then we can go about those accommodations. But until or unless I get that evidence, I can't make accommodations for disabilities. The other thing is academic integrity. I want to stress that you as students are responsible for looking in the handbook, the student handbook, and there's a section on what counts as plagiarism, what counts as academic honesty, and what counts as academic dishonesty. If you plagiarize, even if you didn't intend it, professing ignorance that you didn't understand what counted as plagiarism is not going to be an excuse at East Carolina University. So you really do have to be aware of what the rules of plagiarism are. And of course the penalties can range from anything from failing the assignment, which is a low-end penalty, to failing the course, which a few of my students in past years have done. Or if it's a very serious offense, your academic standing at ECU may be in jeopardy. So make sure you take that very seriously. So my policy on late assignments, I do want to specify what this is because I'm very strict about deadlines. It's not because I don't want to grant exceptions to people. It's because I don't want to be put in a position where I have to listen to your reasons and then I have to listen to someone else's reasons and figure out which ones I want to accept. I don't want to be in that position to make a subjective judgment call where I might accept your reasons, but I might not grant someone else an exception. So when I say something's due on, let's say, February 25th, that really does mean that I need it by February 25th. Ideally, I want you to start turning things in early. If you're turning it in on the 25th, think of that as turning it in a little bit too late. You should really be turning stuff that's due on the 25th in on the 24th, the 23rd, or 22nd, because that gives you a little wiggle room. But I will accept things for a 2-day window after the due date, only at very strict penalty. Let's say it's due on the 25th at 11:59 p.m. All of my due dates expire on 11:59 p.m. of that day. So let's say you turn it in on 11:26 at 12:03. That's going to count as late. And from 11:59, or really midnight, until the following 24-hour period, you have 24 hours to turn it in at 50% penalty, which means what would have been an A paper if it were perfect will now become a 50% paper if it's perfect. If it's not perfect, it may be below 50%. And let's say that instead of turning it in on the 26th at 12:02, you turn it in on the 27th, so now it's 2 days late. So on that second day, you have a 24-hour window from really 12 midnight on the 27th to 11:59 on the 27th to turn in the outstanding assignment at a 75% penalty. That means that if it was 100% paper turned in on time, the best you're going to get is a 25%, but at least you'll get points. So if you have to turn it in late, do so, but it will be an extreme penalty. And the only exceptions I make are things that are going to be grave illnesses, deaths in the family. It can't be that you had the sniffles. It can't be that you had a cold. You would need documented proof that there's no way you could have turned something in on that week. So your grade breakdown, you can go through there. All the papers are, I'll put separate videos up kind of discussing each of these. The only thing that I have to draw your attention to after this is how the syllabus works here. So notice the week's topics and readings being discussed that week. So, for instance, by week 2, by Monday the 19th, I will have expected you to read Public Good, Private Good. And by 1/26th, on that Monday, I will have expected you to read this chapter of Graham's book, History of American Education. I'll have expected you to read that. Because the Monday is when we start the week. So you'll go to the discussion forums, hopefully Monday and Tuesday of that week. So just make sure that you realize that that this is the day on which the reading is due, not the reading you're supposed to do for the following week. So hopefully that's cleared up everything for the syllabus. If you have any questions, I can be reached by email or the other methods that we talked about. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the discussion forums.